worldnet.com. We are live. So let's talk about tonight's topic. Sorry, it's last minute topic for those that might have gotten it last minute. Anyways, we are talking about execution of development in algo trading versus uh, rap, basically rapid development as opposed to execution speed for algo trading. As an example, high frequency trading or mid frequency, low frequency. I mentioned in the last few streams that C++ high frequency trading is fine for people with large accounts, 500,000 plus, let's say, give them access to direct market access, let alone uh, if that works. But I've been focusing the last couple of weeks for medium frequency, namely C sharp with a C sharp server, C sharp set of clients for each strategy. Um, well, last week I mentioned that. Let me know if you guys can hear me or whoever can hear me. Just give me a comment. But it seems that the world of that we're in right now with the market, the way it is as of Friday with the uh, drop in gold, silver, it is recovering. It will recover. It could be manipulated again. So there, you have to circumvent yourself from these sort of unpredictable events. Um, since that Friday, we've hit some pretty extreme volatility. Thank you, Mr. CNN. Yeah, so there is that. We have to be concerned with let's say, unpredictable volatility. It's long term. Who knows? So, what really boils down to is, as you know, I've been focusing on futures and options, uh, and with the futures and options, it's the best asset class to trade. I've gone on about that. And now we're in a mode of unpredictable volatility. So the solution is, how fast can you develop a strategy? If you haven't seen any of my long form videos lately, I've got now news as the focus to drive all that. I have a set of drivers that will set trading opportunity. I can get those set up within a couple hours based upon the news feeds that I had. Works really good. I can also validate if any of the strategies that get quickly developed are worthy by doing auto backtesting with AI. That works fine. So that's all now. Originally, I was hoping to do it in C sharp. That takes too long. With AI, when it comes to any C language, C++, C sharp, C itself, it's a more complicated language from my experience so far, specifically with Claude 4.5 now. Just so everybody knows, Claude 5 Sonnet's supposed to come out just before the new DeepSeek 4 in a couple of weeks. Because today's what, February 2nd. So I expect, yeah, DeepSeek to hit around mid-February. And all the major LLMs and models are prepping themselves to kind of update themselves with the latest from OpenAI, and Claude is going to have 5 out soon to keep up with what could be a surprise from DeepSeek. Anyways, with the Python, yeah, like I find that the two best languages for AI are JavaScript and Python, and the C sharp can be a challenge. You can still develop stuff in C sharp, but it just takes longer. So I focused back on Python for the clients, but kept my C sharp server. Works fine. I'm just in testing the first one from today's set of trades with gold and copper. And I'll stick with those until these Python scripts are completed. Yeah, and one of the other big things is you have to have a set of libraries of prompts that work. And I've got now approaching 50 pages of prompts since I've started this whole process. So they're always getting constantly updated. You know Mr. CNN, how you just got a 2000 plus script, a prompt from all the news from today. Turning that into Python can be a big challenge. I've tried a lot today. The only one that really does it well is uh, Claude 4.5. So Codex now, all the leading, what you think are each GRAW can't do it. G was it GTK I mentioned? 4.7 was pretty good for free LLM from China. The Quen doesn't seem to be able to do it. Maybe DeepSeek may be able to do it down the line. I don't know. Anyways, uh, yeah, right now Claude 4.5 is still the best one for Python development. So with Python, you're able to rapidly develop. Hello, JDI. How are you? Hopefully, you got the topic for tonight. But with Claude 4.5, with Java, sorry, with Python, it's the best and fastest way to develop something if you have the right prompt, like deep level prompt. As I mentioned earlier, 2,000 lines now of prompts. That's where we're at. And I tried last Friday JavaScript for a self-contained quote unquote client. It didn't work all that well. It didn't work at all. So I had to go back to Python because Python's a much more sophisticated language, and thank the Lord that Streamlit exists because that seems to be the best framework and GUI based framework to do all of this Python with. I could develop it with JavaScript, but because I'm putting some pretty deep algos in there, only Python can handle it between Python and JavaScript. So Python it is, and it works all fine. So I'm excited all about that. I'll probably do a long form video to demonstrate that tomorrow. As I said, I got two underway with gold and copper. And with the whole process with the news as well, I will add that I'm able to find really good winners based upon the standard auto backtesting that I've been working on. And then when I apply a walk forward analysis, it looks really good. And that's using the latest data. I've slowed down the trait dating analysis or the dating frequency. I started with 1 hour. It's just more realistic to go with 4 hours for automated trading. So that's what I'm using. I get much better forecasts with the walk forward on a 4 hour. And I'm using a 4 hour because when I wrote for Seeking Alpha a few years ago, they only wanted the lowest frequency you go is 4 hours. And I asked them, and they said, yeah, it's because it's more accurate. So I'm kind of sticking with that kind of principle for now. Yeah, longer time frames, slower time frames. Yeah, originally 1 hour I thought would be good, but it seems 4 hour might be good, specifically for more the volatility because it smooths it out. So that's what I'm experiencing so far with some of the uh, Python I'm using. You could choose whatever you want, and it will connect into the Rhythmic server thing in C sharp, and it will just send over the as a command back to Rhythmic, and you can do it any time frame. But the best one I'm finding is 4 hours. Best analysis, most realistic walk forward analysis with 4 hour. But yet you can still do pretty good back testing as well. And as I said, the gold one that I'm looking at right now is really strong. The copper, hard to say. ES, which is the S&P 500, is not as strong, but it looks like gold is looking pretty good right now. I've done a whole slew of them. Treasury, I've looked at a silver, I've looked at oil, natural gas, and so on and so forth. If you look at my natural gas, sorry, my latest long form and at what's presented as a JavaScript front end, it will measure with the same prompt I'm using if the strategy is low risk or not. And it will also give you the standard projected Sharp as well as the expected return. So it's pretty good. So JDI, first question, I guess. Precious metals have been very volatile in the past few days. There are a lot of speculation around what caused the pullback. I've been watching a bunch of videos, and one said that Chinese traders knew the announcement was coming for the new Fed chair on Friday. So they coordinated where these Chinese traders rigged the market because there's not just the spot market in gold with COMEX and silver. There's also a Shanghai equivalent. So what they did was they knew there's an arbitrage opportunity there, and they just pounded the U.S. COMEX exchange down a lot. So I'm not sure how the Shanghai gold markets did, the Shanghai spot market did. Also, there was mention that there was a Fed plunge, what do they call it? Plunge protection team was involved as well to prevent further losses in gold and silver. There was apparently some trades to cover the shorts that some of the big banks put out, like JP Morgan. Supposedly they were losing a lot of money. So the plunge team got involved to sort of straighten out the banks because I think one or two banks went bankrupt. Some credit company went bankrupt on Friday. So who knows what it is? But I've talked about these operations before where the Fed, a bunch of banks or hedge funds get together and plot something. From my perspective, I think it's also to do with just because it's to shake out the market. Basically, when you see the spike in gold and silver, it's basically a lack of confidence vote in U.S. Fed, U.S. Monetary policy, a lack of confidence in the U.S. dollar, and pretty well anything U.S. Treasury. So they had to do something to spook retail investors from getting into gold. That's my theory. Because they did that a few months ago in the fall. It wasn't as steep, but they did it, and there was no mystery to it. It was done out of England, actually, and I think Bank of England was involved as well. I've seen some of the early AI, Chinese AI, talk about it, but as I said last week, that bias has been removed, so it's very difficult to find those outcomes from AI. But it's hard to say. Anyways, that's about my little spiel there. If you guys have got any other questions at all, as I said, I'm working right now on the Python scripting as a client, and I'm working on the gold one, and I'm going to use that as a base role model for the copper one, and I might roll out some other ones tomorrow because the more I test it, the better, and they do look pretty good. It's just much better than JavaScript and way better than just some console app in C# as a trading strategy. So if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Yeah, I could go on about what's happened with the gold and silver market. As you said, JD, everything's going to go, everything's going squirrely with the volatility, as I mentioned earlier. Do you use AI for updates on market news? Yeah. So what I'm doing is, I think I mentioned this last week. What I'm doing is I have now custom news feeds, and I'm using right now it's over 24,000. It's about 24,000 news items over a 24-hour cycle, and it's across 12 feeds. So what I focus on is purely futures on options, no single stock, that break out currency, crypto, futures and options generally. Also, I have one dedicated fixed income and treasury, and then I have another one specific for commodity. So I have and the stock indices as well. So I have a variety that will cover the whole futures and options space, and it works really good. And then if you've seen my latest videos, the long form, I have that JavaScript that I ask it to present like a literally a daily trading plan on futures and options, on what to trade, how to trade it, how many, and it'll tell me how many futures I should take out, what to do if it's a hedging, number of options, and that can be for each opportunity. So my experience so far is that they kind of work. They look good on how it's presented, but as of yesterday, I have now a method where I'm able to treat you. It will generate up to about 15 suggested strategies, and it's really good. The problem is when you run each one and generate a Python script for it and get a an automated backtest out of it. I did 5 yesterday. Only 2 were good. I did 3 more as another test today, and 2 of them were good. The real good one was the gold. The copper was looked okay, but the equity one for the ES or the S&P 500 was no good. So I'm throwing away a good chunk of these strategies, and I don't really pursue them. But the ones that look good, I do pursue them, and I'm gonna turn them into an actual running client that will go up against rhythmic data and test it out. And if that workflow works, that's what I'm going to go with because I think the markets over the last couple of weeks have just gotten, as I said earlier, the volatility is crazy. When you have something that's not sustainable, blah 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 blah. So, but the nice thing with these strategies with the futures and options, I kind of hinted it on my I think it was a 47-minute one where I said that it will suggest, and this is typical of options trading specifically. With options trading, it will figure out strategies that you can do with hedging or based upon supply and demand, momentum based. If it sees it, it will then say that we can have these are the projected returns. So the one I did with gold was up to 200%. Had a winning ratio of, I believe it's 70%. I do believe the Sharp ratio was kind of strong at 1.8. So when I did the back test, it did verify that. When I ran the forward analysis, it did that. And it's a combination of options and futures. That's the thing about futures and options, because with options, you can protect your downside risk. And you can actually, in a way, certain combinations, you can have it where it's risk-free. That the only asset class that does that is options and futures because you can arbitrage and at the same time set up hedges to protect the downside. And then, as I said, if you get a good one, a real winner, you can literally have unlimited profitability. And I think this gold one may present that. And if copper continues to be um, uh, used in industry, like specifically out of China, copper price will go up. So these are 2 good winners. And it works fine with currencies. There was one for the with the Canadian dollar. And as I said, when you scan each opportunity, you look at it and you go, okay, am I like what's the risk there? That's what I'm looking at. Is it a high risk? Because there was a mention of a natural gas one based around because this news member is that there's all these groundhogs in North America projecting the winter, and that's actually news that will impact natural gas. Because of that, there was some one strategy came out that said if the groundhogs say that we have an early winter or an early spring, you can use that as a trading opportunity to project a massive collapse in natural gas price. So that would be considered a high risk move, obviously, but these are just sort of the things that smart AI can pick up on, and that's again from Claude 4.5. As I said, I've tested a lot of other ones, Grok, uh, GPT. I've tested Gemini. Nothing gives you that kind of intelligence, and that's all including a lot of the Chinese ones as well. Claude just seems to pick up the right mindset for trading. It's impressive. There was other ones that mention of potential housing collapse, potential anything it picks up in the news feeds, it will generate a trading idea out of it. I'm trying to figure out how you can trade a futures trade or an options trade from, let's say, a housing market collapse, if that's projected. So again, that's all based around what it sees in the news. It will generate a trading idea and opportunity based on that and build an actual strategy if I want it. But those kind of trades I will not take because of A, high risk, and They're just not realistic. But if you know you have something like gold, like if there was a bear put option, um, thinking that the gold price will continue. And that's possible because if the markets start to strengthen, equity markets, then gold will go down. So who knows where it'll go. If you guys got any questions or comments, let me know. That's why I do these streams. JDI, you're really good at that. Did I ask all your questions so far? Yeah, so hopefully I've answered all your questions so far. But as I said, this seems to be the better way to trade versus asking some Chinese AIs, give me all the quant opportunities that high frequency trading shops use. Um, it's just not, it's news events that drive the markets, especially if it's a liquid or volume instrument. There's impact on that. And that's where most of the trading comes from is the impact on that news. So Deepborn 53. So purely using AI signals info, do you use this in conjunction with other more traditional signals? Yeah, that's a very good question. What I'm seeing in the AI is using less quant because I'm telling it not to use quant. So it's using more technical analysis. And the one it's using is RSI. And I think the reasons why it's using RSI is because in a volatile, unpredictable trading environment, it's using, and I'm taking a strong assumption on here, but I think I'm correct on it. It's using pricing targets. So you ask the AI to say, okay, here's a strategy idea, and it comes back and saying, okay, if this event happens and hits this target, that is when you close out the position. And obviously that's going to be a lot of the time driven by RSI. And most of the time it's using simple RSI for that. And it seems to set a target on an exit price. And that's what I'm seeing in the AI so far. It's very simple. It's not as complicated. It's just more like, as I said, the news is what drives everything, but only focus on the instruments that give you high liquidity and high, and that's what you look at. Do you AI is capable of building out signals using alternative data? Yes, if you have access to the data, alternative data for sure. Um, yeah, but it depends upon what you call alternative data. So, as an example, if you have your strategy, as I've always talked about, like high frequency trading level, where you have basically direct market access in one of the CME data warehouses like Aurora, you will get access to to proprietary data that costs a lot of money. And what I posted one example on my X feed as an example using satellite data, which is pretty standard. If you're expecting a Fed call and it's going to go up, what they do with the satellite data, what it will do is it will look at parking spots at the Federal Reserve. So if they know if there's going to be more cars parked overnight, that they're probably planning a major move because the more cars they count, the more of a bigger move they predict. I've talked about the same with smokestacks on gold mines, and they'll know if there's gold mining going on. They'll also do the same thing with the actual CME warehouse over at Aurora, and they measure smoke. I mean, it's the most bizarre things that they measure. And I posted that thing on X, and a guy responded saying, "We have cheaper prices on that." So quite interesting that there are proprietary companies that do seem to offer alternative data. You just got to know about it. And I'm going to do that more of that on X to see if there's other data providers at a much lower cost. If you want to see that tweet, just go on my Twitter account, or X account. You'll see that on I think it was last Monday I posted. So Dborn asks, okay, I took a class from you several years ago using Python and Redis to build trading bot. Still, I'm back to using Python and Redis 3, so that's still valid. I'm looking to build something using AI. Are you offering classes? Yeah, I am. I did have my futures and options class on that up until yesterday, but just get in touch with me on the site at quantlabsnet.com. There's a little chat mode on there and just let me know. I could probably offer you a coupon to get you back in that. You have to use futures and options now. No ifs, ands, or buts. I have, I don't know how many projects I post on my elite membership. I've got probably approaching 400 projects on there. Like, I'm just shocked on the amount of code that I'm generating now, like a lot of code. So there's something can be worked out. Just let me know. And the other thing is, if you go into my offer at the bottom here at the video, I've got that HFT C++ low latency thing. That's there. You can actually buy through YouTube if you want to try that out as well. That's ultra low latency in C++. I'm just trying to test that to see if there's a demand there, if people are actually wanting something like that. I could actually do a whole subscription based around that. I'm just generating so many uh, trading strategies, Python. Um, no problem. Thank you, Deborn. Let me know. Just get on my website, quantlabsnet.com. You'll see the little chat connect, and you can start a conversation there if you want. So yeah, the coding is getting really sophisticated now. As I said at the beginning, my prompts are now getting up to 2,000 lines. CNN had its first experience on that with a new Quen, what's it called? Quen 3 coder next. And I looked at the code. It looks good, but uh, if you're trying to do this and trying to do open source level, I tried this morning purposely to try other LLMs, and the one that kind of impressed me that's free and open source is GTK 4.7, which is Chinese. That's the best one so far. And then, of course, Opus 4.5 still rules the roost, like no questions asked, based upon the sophisticated trading ideas it comes back with. I just don't know. It feels like I have some guy from some portfolio manager giving me answers from Goldman Sachs or something. It's not good. But if you guys got other further questions, let me know or comments. That's all fine and grand. But the AI is getting very sophisticated now. I don't know if you guys saw the latest interview from that Peter, I'll just say Peter T guy that ran created Claw bot or whatever it's called now. He talked about the whole thing on the creation of it. Quite fascinating. And he's saying, and other videos I'm seeing, they don't even look at code anymore. It's that good. And I'm in the same camp. I don't look at code anymore. I just know I run it, test it. When I'm happy with it, then I'll let it go on my live futures account, which I haven't done yet. But hopefully, I keep saying hopefully, but I'm hoping this time I'm good. So Deborn, I've been playing around a lot with locally hosted LLMs using Olama and LM Studio. And JDI asks, Claudebot looks really cool. It is cool, but I do think you have to be very careful on the security level. Do not run it on your primary machine. A lot of people went out and bought Mac Minis for this thing. And I could probably say the same thing on any testing of AI if you're going to host it locally. I go through cloud, as you know. Coming back to Deborn, so you've been playing a lot with local LLMs using both Olama and LM Studio. I haven't tried LM Studio, but one thing I like about Olama is you don't have to register for anything. That's what I like about it. Because the dangerous thing is when you're using AI and you're using, ChatGPT or whatnot, and you got to give them your API key from, let's say, OpenAI, and you run it, and then you start to get addicted and go crazy, and you look at your Visa bill, it's now $500 because and there's been accusations where a lot of these LLM providers are really abusing that. So I'd be very careful if you're going to run it locally. If you're going to run a service, make sure that there's some form of cap on it each month so you don't go over that and just buy more points. Like right now, my budget's about $140 US. and I have not even used a third of it this time around. Before that, I could go through it in no time. But the way things are going with these agents now, with Claude code and whatever else comes down the pipes, and these agents are going to go crazy. Yeah, eventually I'll go that down that path just so everybody knows about what's going on. What I've been doing with AI for the last year and a bit, it's already outdated because of these new things with skills and MCP. I don't, to be honest, I've kind of played with it, but really not. I kind of know what it is, but if you want to learn the more updated way to do it, I don't know if you guys remember Andrew Ho out of Singapore. He was the first one that brought out the legendary machine learning low level course. It's free. I told somebody out of that, and the guy went crazy. And that's all he's been learning is the new course from Andrew Ho. So you might want to be on the lookout for that. It's free as well. Yeah, apparently it's quite good, and it's all up to date stuff with the skills and MCP. I know for sure MCP is going to stay now. Everybody's using it as a standard. I'm just waiting for skills to be part of that standard as well in this agent development world. Because, when you look at RAG, that apparently is now obsolete and is now dead and buried. But hopefully MCP and the new skills will stick. And I got to learn that too. If you guys got questions or comments for all the newbies or new people that just joined, yeah, coming back to the AI has just radically changed. A couple of weeks ago, I would have said, I'm interested in learning the Google anti-gravity. Just in the last batch of news that I go through, I've not seen a lot of Google AI tools. I mean, I see the occasional one on the Notebook LM, which is a very cool tool, but I've not seen any anti-gravity at all. It's still VS Code. I'm still seeing Cursor. I'm still seeing Claude Code, obviously, but I don't see a lot of anti-gravity at all. So I don't know if anti-gravity is going to stick long term. I don't know. But and another thing, OpenAI just brought out a new thing called Prism. That looks pretty cool actually, because I've played with the Codex Pro. Was it 5.2 Codex Pro? It's okay. Claude is way still better, but the Prism, the new tool from OpenAI, looks really cool. It's like a Python notebook, and it will generate so-called high quality research papers and math and algo development, and probably the code that comes with it too. So that's something I'd be interested to learn from OpenAI, but I'm sure Claude or Anthropic will have something like that coming soon to respond to that. But as I said earlier, we're waiting for what the new DeepSeek will be. If you got questions or comments, let me know. As I said, DeepSeek 4 is coming out in mid-February. I think what's happening right now, a lot of the big LM providers, AI providers are petrified of this DeepSeek because of what they did a year ago when that DeepSeek version came out, two, what's a DeepSeek, whatever it was, just revolutionized everything. So a lot of the big LLM providers, the Googles, the Anthropics, OpenAI are bringing out their best new major releases. So I do know there's new Claude 5 Sonnet coming out. I do know that there's Gemini 3.5 coming out, and it's all going to be in the next couple of weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if because there's supposed to be talk of OpenAI is supposed to have ChatGPT 6 coming out, but I just don't know. But the DeepSeek's what I'm kind of looking forward to see what that can do, because I think the big exciting stuff will be in the agents, obviously. And right now, ChatGPT owns that easily with the Claude code. And I've never used Claude code yet, but I'll eventually get there. If you guys got comments or questions, let me know. But AI is just, it's getting so competitive, not just between the US providers, but also the Chinese, and the Chinese are trying to come out with really good revolutionary LLMs because obviously their goal is to take out the US AI. And DeepSeek could be probably the lead of that. The problem is what I'm seeing with a lot of the Chinese LLMs, they're just not able to keep up with pretty well Claude. They're getting close, but every time Claude comes out with something, just they just leapfrog like light years ahead of everybody else. Deborn says, yeah, the AI is moving so fast, kind of hard to keep up with it. It's like a full-time job. It is a full-time job, but as I tell certain people, don't get caught up in the latest and greatest stuff. You have to let the market with a new technology that comes out because, as I said, RAG applications, I think, are dead. And that was the next big thing. And then Claude or Anthropic brings out MCP servers, and who knew that seems to stick. And the reason I say it sticks because, like, when you get a Microsoft kind of like laying the ground there, then they're kind of invested there. Also, Claude code, and then there's a new thing that Anthropic brought out called Claude Work. And I just got an update on all the skills that they have for it. They got like 20 or 30 skills, not just from Anthropic. And then there's all the other providers like Vercel and all these other big providers. They're just jumping and putting out all this stuff. It's impossible to keep up with. And it is a race to the bottom as far as I'm concerned because they got to get the attention of the users, specifically tech folks like us, the coders specifically. That's how they're seem to be judged now, based upon the quality of code that they can bang out. And of course there's Meta as well. That's kind of like lagging behind, and Microsoft's lagging behind as well. But from Meta, they seem to be botching this purchase of what do you call Manus. That was an opportunity. What they're going to do supposedly is have these paid subscriptions for WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, and then you get access to Manus. That's how they're going to push it. But I do believe Manus is very expensive, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with Meta. And a lot of people don't know, but Apple made a huge purchase for an AI provider out of Israel called QAI. It's their biggest purchase yet since when they bought Beats a few years ago. They paid, I think, 3 billion for that. So I don't know what Apple's going to do with that as well. I tried to get information on QAI, but I couldn't get anything. If anyone has any info on that, it seems to be a very secretive AI, and knowing Apple, be quite interesting to see what they do with that. So now that Apple's getting in on it, I don't know what Microsoft's going to do because they're lagging behind when only 3% of their users are using Copilot like paid. Well, anyways, I could go on about it. But if, as I said, if you're new, just ask away your questions on algo trading and whatnot. Yeah, so earlier I mentioned about the trading with the rapid development versus rapid execution. And I think in this day and age with unpredictable volatility, um, yeah, you definitely need to focus more on rapid development on strategies now to keep yourself going because the idea of momentum-based trading, it's hard. The only one that seems to work really good, as I mentioned, and if you don't believe me, just look at today on which was the best instrument that performed, and it's VIX. VIX did pretty good. I saw it was up as high as 10% intraday move. Like, hello. I mean, gold had an amazing rebound today, and I think silver had an amazing rebound today as well. But again, it's all manipulated, right? And the thing about this news-driven stuff as well, with Claude and what it was generating trading ideas for SOFR, which are overnight holdings on euro dollar. It was suggesting swaps, and it was accessible too for the smaller account. So it was kind of neat. Franklin, welcome, Franklin M. German. Okay. Hello, when do you plan to test live money? I keep saying it and I go, I got a better idea. This is the problem of being a so-called engineer. I am probably going to say after this test with this Python that I'm testing out now because I was going to go very close to do the C sharp stuff. And then I thought, hold on here. Why am I not generating the same thing in C sharp or sorry, in Python when I started moving over to news-driven events versus just quantitative, high-frequency trading style mindset trading, which wasn't the smartest thing. And there was, a month lost there. I'm not saying it was a waste of time, but news-driven's the better way. So I'm hoping sooner. I really want to get this live trading underway. And I'm heavily testing these Python clients that I'm testing out. Like I said earlier, I've got a gold trade I'm trying out. Now it'll work fine for micro gold. Copper's the next one, and I have one if I want with Canada. But oh, sorry, when I say Canadian dollar, so this workflow seems to work really good, and I think the scheduling what I'm going to do is try to get up early in the morning, like at 4 a.m., go through all the feeds, the news feeds, generate all the trading futures and options trading plan, and then bang out the Python client code and run it with the auto testing. The cool thing about this whole process is with the agents, I can get this fully automated for sure. That's why I'm very interested in the AI agents as well, because it's the same process every morning that I'm planning to do. And if I can able to get a set of agents to create the news for me, post the news on my website behind the paywall, also generate the Python scripts to do the auto backtesting, and then and generate a JavaScript news plan or day plan, and just have it all done, ready to go when you wake up and just push buttons. That's what I'd like to do. What trading platform are you using? Okay, Dbon. I'm using my own. I've talked about this time and time again. Now, if you go on my YouTube channel, just look for Rhythmic. Okay, I've talked about that a lot. And what I'm doing is I'm using Rhythmic API, futures and options. It's the best for 140 a month. US data and the connection to live trading through an API. So that's what I'm using, and I'm writing my own coding, I guess, to interact with it. But it's Windows based, and I can only use Rhythmic Trader Pro, which is Windows only. So that's why I'm limited only on Windows. Just so you know. Franklin asks, "I'm happy with your journey, man. I also have a question on using Rhythmic. Rhythmic compatible with Golang for test environment, etc." You could. What you need to do is there's only 4 languages supported by Rhythmic on Windows for us retail mom and pop type of traders. You have .NET, you have C++, you have also Python and WebSocket. So the easiest one is .NET. So what I would recommend is trying to do what I did in my architecture, develop a server, because you can only have one connection live with Rhythmic. So what you want to do is you want to develop the equivalent of a hub gateway, and then the C sharp, I call it a server. It will interface with Rhythmic, and it'll interface with client strategies that get plugged into it. And then you have multiple client strategies with different strategy code that will connect into the C sharp server. And it's one connection from the C sharp gateway hub into Rhythmic, if that makes sense, hopefully. That's the best way to do it. And if .NET's the best language for that, because your Windows, you're limited only on Windows. What about Mac? I have a MacBook. Well, unfortunately, if you look at Rhythmic Trader Pro, which is the software you use to connect into Rhythmic, um, you will have to have Rhythmic Trader Pro running, which is Windows based. Now, with the WebSocket, that's You may be able to get around that with the WebSocket, but if you want, I'll give you the address for our for the support. If you go to our API at rhythmic.com and ask them if you can do exactly that, but I'm pretty sure it's Windows based only. The only way you get on a Linux, let's say, or Mac is if you got the Diamond API, which is very specialized for true HFT. That's going to run you account size. You need the cost of a Porsche or Lamborghini, and the monthly cost will run you per connection a mortgage payment per connection. And that will run on Linux and Windows. And that's all you have. I know Unix, or sorry, Mac is Unix based. You probably can get away with it. But if not, then you have to run some kind of a Windows virtualized environment. Yeah, yeah. The Diamond API is specialized for HFT shops. I have confirmed back in the day, the only way a lot of the HFT shops was through something like Rhythmic or CQG. So all of those big shops were using Rhythmic. Some of them are still using Rhythmic, and they have a specialized API for CME in the exchanges with direct market access. So that's confirmed, hands down. It's been like that for decades with Rhythmic. This is why I love Rhythmic. I mean, there's challenges with Rhythmic. I'm not going to lie. Once you get past that point of the initial, like banging your head against the wall and get past that, the best way to do it is with Rhythmic because it's institutional and all you have to do is flip the switch. And if you're doing really good with something like options, which is not hard, you can build up, yeah, get that account and you can scale it. Like it's an awesome opportunity if you ask me. Compared to interactive brokers, nothing wrong with interactive brokers. I'm still trying to see if people want the equivalent with interactive brokers. And you could get away with it now that I'm down to 4 hours. So interactive brokers is still very possible. The thing is, what I like about with Rhythmic, it just gives you so many features you don't get anywhere else. Like, do you have aggressive trading for certain instruments? You can measure all, I mean, just things that I've never seen through other brokers or APIs. And it's very unique. And that's only available in the C++ edition of the API from Rhythmic. But it's pretty advanced stuff. Maybe one day I might rewrite the C# server into C++ on Windows, but I just don't like it. Don't like Windows development at all on C++ Windows at all. But maybe I might be able to do it through, I don't know, through a Linux-like environment. I can't remember the name of it, but it's possible. I'm just not. I just want to get live trading right now. Thank you for the likes or emoticons, the hearts or whatever. Thank you. If you guys got any other questions, let me know. That's why I do the streams to answer questions. I have a Zoom account and I'm wanting to use it more, so I want to do presentations now on Thursday nights on the Zoom. And because of Notebook LM, I can in minutes, seconds, literally bang out slide decks. It's awesome. And there's so many topics to cover here. I'm probably going to do that as well. We'll see. There's just so much going on. But my highest priority right now is to get live trading up and running right away because I think that is important. It's critical, actually. I'm not going to lie because I do want to get. It's hard to get a verified trading account with Rhythmic because there's no provider that will enable you to have synchronized automated trading with a provider like a journaling service. And the only way I can do is uploading my trading raw files outside of providing my what they call the FCM records. So I don't know but either one can be manipulated. That's the problem. If you guys got questions or comments, just so you know, When it comes to big family offices, hedge funds, and the like, what they like if large firms are looking to invest in these kind of investment vehicles, we'll call them, those the expectation of the firms, family offices, hedge funds, the hedge fund wannabes, usually they have to go out and pay for an audit on the all their processes and trading through one of the big four consulting companies. So if you do uh, PwC or Deloitte or one of those big ones, 10 years ago the cost was about $70,000. So that's expected you to provide that when you have these big shops uh, looking for investment. There's some of the you can provide signaling as well. There's some HFT shops that will pay for that. Jane Street's as an example of that, but getting in, I don't know how that works. I got to bring you guys up to date. Last week I mentioned about the recruiting. Um, uh, I did get they would met they were willing to communicate with me, so I sent a bunch of questions, very specific questions that I talked about last week, and they never got back to me. So I imagine a lot of these firms on the questions regarding recruiting, they're not going to give you answers. So that's a no-go, unfortunately. Um, you know, it's odd because I have literally thousands of people they want to look at, but they just, I don't know, they cut you off, and that's fine. But I just wanted to bring you up to date. And the company I wanted to mention was Millennium Hedge Fund out of New York. That's a big one. That's one of the top five largest hedge funds that I was talking to. So, anyways, going on. So Fungi Blast, good names here. I like them. For the sort of trading you do, what is the capital allocation for somebody that is very small family office? See, that's what I'm saying. There's the quant wannabes, the hedge fund wannabes, and the family office wannabes. I don't know what your target is. If you're talking about your friends and family, you could probably do that right now with an interactive brokers account with up to four people. You could set yourself up as an individual um, advisor on interactive brokers and build out your automation and tech. You could do that with interactive brokers, and it can be any amount. It depends upon the level of professionalism. These whoever it is, if it's like a large firm, as I said, they're going to look at those kind of audits that I mentioned. So there's that. If you're going after mom, pa, that's different. So they may not be as sophisticated, but you may need to provide some kind of track record that's verified and audited through an accountant, through a lawyer, that can be at least notarized and show that you're valid. But it's a hard question to answer. But there's a ton of these little quant hedge fund wannabes anyways. So I keep stressing that I think it's just you're better off to focus on your own thing and start to develop your own systems and profit from your own trading ideas and your automation of what you build out as a strategy. I'd focus on that first. If you get really good at it, there's different avenues to go down to garner the attention of the bigger firms. But it's ultra competitive there in that space. So I'd rather, if I was to recommend, just to stick with your own thing and build it up. And you definitely want to, the only thing that they'll want to know about is futures and options. I've stressed about that enough as well. How about my own system costs? Well, it depends if you're on your own trade, you're technical. There's no cost outside your own AI and what you develop. So it could be as little as that and just time. Now, if you're trying to use a trading system or hire somebody or use AI, it's hard to say. I don't know your goal. If you want, get on my website, quantlabsnet.com, and start a conversation. I could try to help you out, but because I don't know. So it's hard to say, but you could do it yourself easily if you know the technology. And I hate to tell you, you can't vibe code this. You can't just vibe code a system and then it starts to hang or generate errors. And you got live money and open positions when it hangs, and you don't know what you're coding, you don't know anything about it, it's just a recipe for disaster as well. So you kind of got to know. If you guys got questions or comments further, one of the things I'll mention about what this Peter guy that created Clawbot, whatever it's called, what he stressed was it's no longer about coding, it's no longer about um, managing the code. Where the experience comes in, and I can speak from my own experience on this, and I agree with what he says. The real focus is on architecting the software. That's going to be the important thing. If you can't architect the software and don't know the ins and outs of, let's say, databases, building out risk management, and just a whole overall big system, you're going to struggle with that. And the architecting is the most important aspect of the whole thing. I can do that because I've been doing this since I've been 14, right? So I've already kind of said, well, I'm an old fossil as it is. So yeah, that's going to be the future. If you can architect the system and maintain it. As an example, there's a student in this Ivy League school on WhatsApp, and they came in and said, hey, look at me, I developed this AI thing for web, blah, blah, blah. And people played with it, and there was an error. He didn't know how to fix it. So people laughed, and we never heard back at all. So if you're kind of trying to come in from that perspective and don't know how to fix a simple error like that, don't even bother because your reputation's on the line, right? I'm in another more sophisticated WhatsApp group where it's getting bigger, more popular. So a lot of these students are coming in and asking general how-to questions. You can't do that in these kind of groups with the sophisticated people because they're just not going to respond and they're not going to hang out in the group. I'm only in there just to read stuff. And there's about 3 groups I'm part of. Well, quite a bit on WhatsApp, and that's the general trend I'm finding. That's why I don't start my own groups. I'd rather do this, just so everybody knows. And the thing is, it's hard to get expert quants together. I think it's going to have to be in a more private environment as well. That's why I build out my setup. Yeah, I've got a couple of guys, about 2 guys, and no, 3 guys, no, two, yeah, 2 and myself in there, and one guy's doing quite well. He's ex-military. He's built out a nice, you know, close to $1 million account ready to go with hedge funds, with other fellow ex-military people. So they do exist. There are a lot of high achievers out there. They just are trying to figure out the AI and the coding perspective. So that's how that rolls, I guess. Not to discourage people. The only way to do it is do it yourself and start small. As I said before, with crypto or OANDAs for Forex and grow from there. A lot of problem is people don't do it. They dream about it and they just never get it. They just never figure it out. That interview from that Peter guy was quite fascinating because, there's a lot of people that don't believe in AI. But once you get past that notion that it does work and know how to prompt properly, you get addicted. You get addicted badly. Oh, so if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Thank you for joining. Fungi Blast, Franklin. You know what? I am going to give away some stuff. So up until, what was it, Friday, I announced I've got a advanced futures and options course. It is a challenge. And I thought, hey, why not I give a couple of these away? So the value of that's now $250. If you want to take a 5-week course, it's all drip fed online. I have nothing to do with it. If you want to learn it, I got a ranking right now. We've got the top 3 people that are contributing via engagement. And when we're done, I'll gladly let people know. If you want it, I'll gladly offer it to you. So continuing along. Yeah, so I already just know who our number 1 contributors are in the conversation tonight via asking questions. That's all you got to do, ask questions. The thing is about this whole process is that, as I said before, you got to kind of get past the analytical or paralysis by analysis thing. Also, there's a lot of people that just chase shiny toys. That's why they doom scroll. Deborn 53, the course you're asking about, if you go to my website, quantlabsnet.com, if you go to the right, there's a menu option called More. Under More, you'll find courses, and there's about six there. You'll find the very first one's this course I'm talking about is the Advanced Futures and Options Trading course with source code. I'm past that, but if you wanted to know, that's where the foundation starts. That would be for career. That would be doing your own thing, because, as I said earlier, it futures and options is the only asset class that will offer you downside protection on all your trades if you know how to do it properly. And that course kind of focuses on that by hedging and arbitrage. And now the daily plans that I'm going to start generating in futures and options, it's all focused around that. I've been testing for the last three trading sessions with these trading plans. And as I said, I've got two. One looks amazing. Like we're talking 70% win ratio over two Sharpe ratio. This particular one's got a 200% return expected. So uh, yeah, as this is from Fungi Blast. Yeah, as data analyst, educator, I got coding experience as far as being able to debug, create strategies in PineScript via AI and debugging on my own. Starting humble, Fungi Blast. Yeah, everyone's going to start. If you're starting out from zero, I mean, I started the same way, namely AI in the last year and a bit. PineScript's fine for getting started with AI. I like TradingView a lot. I'm not gonna lie, and it's easy as well. The problem I find with TradingView is it's limited, and they're very strict on a lot of things. So if you're using CME data, they can come after you in the various weirdest ways. Whereas if you go with a rhythmic, they're very strict as well. But if you're using it for your own needs, it's fine. But I just find with rhythmic, because it's more next level for institutional, I just find it's better. Now, if budget's a cost, yeah, stick with TradingView for sure and start there. That's a good place to start. PineScript is not a bad language. It's just the idea is to build out a PineScript strategy, or even download. Well, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them on TradingView. Implement it, run it, and put live money on it. Whatever your chosen broker is that's support on TradingView. So definitely, that's the place to start. Honestly, it's a good place. Okay, zero times crypto shock. As someone with a background in embedded systems, C++, where should I start in quant? As I've been saying, uh, if you're doing C++, as I've mentioned in the last couple of weeks, it's kind of overkill coming in from a retail trading standpoint. What I would recommend is, again, it depends what you want to do, what you want to trade. Like if you want to just start from zero, I say this all the time, go with Forex or crypto. Maybe go with TradingView. MetaTrader's okay just to start, but to get into quant's weird because it's kind of, as I said, it's kind of overkill depending upon your account size. Right now, what I'm seeing in my AI lately is just simple RSI. That's all it's using, and just looking at trade this, trade that, based upon futures and options. I can't really add more to that until I start trading live. But with HFT and quant based stuff, what I'm finding, it's really overkill. It's two things you got to ask yourself. What do you want to do with quant HFT? If it's for career, pursue it. If it's to trade your own thing for your own money, and maybe generate your own income, then yeah, I'd go a different, simpler path. And then you start, if you get really good at it and build out a really successful portfolio, then you apply the quant HFT. So again, I don't know your history, but if you're trying to pursue career, a lot of the insiders that are part of this particular WhatsApp group, they say it's next to them. They say it's pretty impossible to get in a career in quant now because it's so fierce from the competition standpoint. If you're in, you're in, and you keep your job, great. But AI is just changing everything as well. So Franklin, MGM, blah blah blah. After finding much success in the future, would you get into FPGA? Yes, but it's the same logic as I applied for HFT and quant. There's no point in pursuing it unless you have a big account. You are going direct market access through something like the CME, and you're really successful because to set up an FPGA system with a dedicated server and all the proprietary feeds, you're looking at a 25,000 initial cost, and then there's on top of all the extra fees you pay out each month. So you have to have a minimum. I would even say going from 500,000 to 1 million. And it's the same thing with high frequency trading and quant. There's no point in killing yourself to go down that road at the get-go. I would start small and simple. And with an option strategy, a successful one, you could probably um, build out a portfolio quite quickly with VIX, especially. It's a very predictable instrument to trade when things go bad, as I said before. And for people that may not agree, just look at the top performing instrument today against gold and silver. VIX is the place to go. And if you have that kind of strategies in options, you could probably build out a big account pretty fast. I'm kind of confident in saying that. Um, if you know what you're doing. But I would start simple. I don't like to discourage people from going down paths like I did and wasted a month, but I just like to be upfront and honest. But again, I don't know your goal. I don't know your level of education. I don't know your aptitude when it comes to coding and math and trading itself. Because the number one goal is to have to basically portfolio manager is your number one skill that you'll need if you get into this as a career. So Pax Gamer, hello. How do you approach testing your strategies? What infrastructure do you suggest? I've been mentioning this for the last couple of weeks, months. I would be using AI itself to do the audit. I call it automated back testing now. You don't have to kill yourself. What you do in your prompting is when you generate an idea, you can ask AI to actually back test it for you. If you can get real market data and then go back a year, 2 years, especially if, as I said earlier, if you go on a 4 hour daily time frame, you can go back pretty far. And then you can just ask the AI to do the back test for you. And at the same time, the same prompt, you can ask it to do the walk forward analysis. And that's the important one because we don't care what happened in the past. We want to know if there's enough momentum for that trade, an opportunity to carry on going on into the future with a walk forward analysis. And AI is very good for that. So hopefully I'll answer your question. Zero time crypto shock. What are your thoughts on LLM trading with context, RAG, etc.? I've been talking about that all since we started the stream. As I said, RAG I think is kind of dead to the world now with what's happening and how fast things are changing with MCP and now these new things called skills. It depends upon what sticks and what's sustainable in the long run. I tried looking at something like LangChain, and I just couldn't fathom to have to download the entire TensorFlow and the the other one, the TensorFlow and whatnot, and Torch libraries to build off of with LangChain. I just don't see that anymore. I'd rather go simple and start building from that. So again, all this technical stuff, it's fine. I've already mentioned the course from Andrew Ho to get up to date on the next level of AI with the skills and MCP stuff. That's probably your best place to go. I'm going to have to do it as well. But I do keep on top of what is the buzzy stuff on the LLM front and the actual tools themselves. I have my methods now, but I do know, as I said earlier, I have hopefully a really good workflow and building agents around that to do everything in an automated way. So I have to look at it and just go, yep, go ahead and trade it, and off it goes. So that's what I'm trying to do. So Fungi Blast, which AI have you found the best for this stuff? Ideas, coding, testing, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok. As I said earlier, I will right now stick with Claude. I just don't know why Claude 4.5 is like light years ahead of everything else. It sets the standards that everything else follows. And as I said, with DeepSeek 4 coming next 2 weeks, I think the Sonnet 5 has kind of already kind of been hinted at. I think I'll be light years ahead of DeepSeek. It just depends upon what's in DeepSeek because that's going to be the one to watch. And Claude, maybe DeepSeek. There's a chat, another Chinese one, GPK, I believe 4.7 is pretty good with the open source one. That one I like right now. Which course from Andrew is he talking about? That's Andrew Ho. He just announced a new course last week on MCP and skills. All the more up-to-date stuff on the agents. And it's free. Just look for it. They just announced it last week, and I got a guy already um, go, going on about he loves it and he's addicted to it. So PAX Gamer, Kimi 2.5 is a good one. Yes, it is good. I just actually tested a few hours ago with this monster prompt. It's okay. 2.5 Kimi. What do I'd say? The GPK is light years ahead, and it's instantly fast. It's fast. The GPK 4.7. I was like, wow, this is good. That's for out of the Chinese ones so far. Right now, that's the best one. GPK, I think GPK. It's from a company called ZAI. Okay, just look for that. It's a Chinese. ZAI makes GPK or Z in the States. We call it Z.ai. But that one's pretty impressive for an open source one. I like that one so far. I think that one's pretty good. The other problem is a lot of the newer AIs adding in bias now, and that's a problem because once they add in bias, it's you just get the generic "sorry, I can't do that," type of answer, and I'm seeing that both in the U.S. and Chinese ones now. So that's going to be a problem moving forward because that holds back on the quality of output. Because it's kind of a shame that we're at. So Fungi Blast, when you said not so much coding but the software infrastructure, what is a good resource? I'm not sure what you're referring to. As I was mentioning earlier about the Peter guy that developed Clawbot. There's a big interview on that. Actually, there's two interviews, but there's a 2 hour one where he said that architecting is more important than anything else when it comes to AI. I agree with him. I'm not sure if I answered that question. Coding is important, but you need to use a high quality advanced AI LLM. And again, that's where the Claude comes in. I mean, look, I was already on top of that months ago before Claude Code started becoming a rage, and it still lives up to that reputation for sure. That is what I meant, Arc. I'm not sure Arc meaning Arc Intel, the GPU, or Arc Linux. Yeah, you can be more specific there, Fungi Blast. Okay, zero time crypto shock. Where should I go to learn how to validate if my backtest metrics are accurate and not just overfit? The best way to do that is quite simple. Do the backtest, and then what you do is you add in a clause. Just say, give me the popular portfolio metrics. Okay, and if you did this with Claude, you'll usually get your Sortino, Sharpe ratio, win ratio, annual return potentially, all that. and you can compare that against other backtests. And then at the same time, you want to add in a walk forward to see if that walk forward prediction using popular portfolio metrics is sustainable over the period. It could be 10 days, it could be a month. Just depends on your prompt. And very specifically, your Claude, like Claude 4.5 is the best for that, without a doubt. Oh, architecture. Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, okay, let me go back to your question. Where should I not much, but the software infrastructure? What is a good resource? So, okay, what is a good resource for architecture? Well, the only way to know about architecture is to being either having the experience. Like I said, I've been coding, well, since I've been 14, and I was born in 69. I'll let you do the math, but so I have that experience. So it's either the experience or actually going through a university level course like computer science. I hate to say it because they put the pressure on you, and you will learn how to architect software. There might be good books out there. I just don't know. I'm sure somebody can recommend that. But I think moving forward with AI, you need to know how to architect software, bringing in different components like databases, knowing how to prompt engineer based upon experience with architecture. Because if you just go, hey, give me an app that does this, one, two, three, you're not going to get a very good app. It's not going to be robust. It's not going to be able to handle redundancy and replication. When you start to scale out, you start to get real users, if it's an application for online or just any user amount of users. Because if you're not good at that, you're going to have a failed project, especially if you're putting money on it, live trading, let's say, or investment, and it just bugs out all the time. It's not very good. You're just wasting. If it's for yourself, it's different, but depends upon what you're trying to do with your AI and your software. But you definitely got to have good experience with architecting. I'm sure there's lots of good books out there, but moving forward, yeah, software architecture is more important than anything else because the AI is getting so good on the debugging. It's getting good on a lot of things, but architecture and just coding experience, specifically tying in different components of a big software application, not just a simple website. Or there's a lot of things that go behind any app or anything. There's a lot of things that go behind beside the behind the code, just asking it for a generic prompt. Okay, so I'm just coming back. Will your live stream be available as a video? Yeah, later. Yeah, it will get rendered later tonight or today. Got to go, but the stuff you talked about was very interesting. Yeah, come back. I do this every Tuesday right now. Get on my website, quantlabsnet.com, on the email list just to know what I'm talking about. What a bunch of, so coming back to Franklin, what a bunch of videos on system design to watch. That's hard to say. Um, yeah, I mean, all I can say is just ask the best AI for things like that you're asking. Just go to Perplexity. I really like what Perplexity does in the answer. So you can go in a chat mode with it and just ask these exact questions. Um, so you're developing for yourself, Fungi Blast. It's cool. Okay. When vibe coding, I usually do a deep Q&A, create a massive detailed prompt, but occasionally code will be too long to read all of it. Do you read most of the code your AI output? Not anymore because I have faith in what's generated. And I do occasionally scan the code from a high level, looking for certain things because I have the coding experience to know what to look for. But if you're new, you have to know how to reverse engineer whatever you're coding or what the output is. If you're not experienced, you have to know how to reverse engineer. No questions asked. If you're doing it in Python, that's a lot easier than versus like some low level C++. So if you're new, I'd probably start with Python because it's easy, and just play around and just reverse engineer. You got to know how to do that. That's a skill that you got to have. This live is more informative than any uni lecture. LOL. Thank you. I hope so. But I can't teach you what you learn in the university in one stream or in any. It's just you got specific questions. I try to come up with the best answers. The thing is, it's software design is very complicated. That's why people spend 4 years at least doing it in a university and probably go beyond with a master's or even a PhD. But with AI, it helps. But when things break and you don't know what you're doing, good luck to you. That's all I could say, especially if you got money involved. That's all I'll say. What do you mean by reverse engineering? What are you doing? Well, what I'm saying is you know the language. You know the language inside out. If it's Python, you know the language. You know all the features that the code generates, and you know what it's doing. You can't depend on a black box on just a bunch of code you don't know. So when I say reverse engineering, you understand what's being outputted as a program. Because if you don't understand it, then yeah, you gotta figure out what it's doing line by line. And there's different ways to go about it. If it's going to be sequential or object oriented, or even more complicated, but all the major techniques, you kind of have to have the experience for it. And again, unfortunately, it's either through job experience or through specifically university, because I still kind of believe in university, not what they, not how they teach you and the messaging, but what they teach you, the structure of it. It's very important. Um, so I wish I could give you a better answer there. Uh, so Fungi Blast. So per the title, is Python the language to focus on? Yeah, I've talked about C++ and C Sharp as well. Yeah, I'm only focusing on the client code well, if you understand my architecture, because I used to have a C Sharp server to interface with a bunch of client code with different strategy and different instruments, and then use the server code to interface with that and the Rhythmic API as well. That's what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm focusing on tonight on the Python clients, but keeping the C Sharp server in place. So that makes sense if you understand over the last couple of weeks. The best place to learn that is if you go onto my LinkedIn profile, because I'm only posting infographics on any of that, and they're pretty good at just an image to show the high level architecture on all this. If you don't understand, get on my website and you can just ask questions there, and I'll do my best to help you out. Cryptorific, hey man, you've been commenting a lot. Thank you for doing all that. Thank you for being on the stream. I'm doing the trial right now. Seems like like is reserved for the elite membership. I'm a stay-at-home full-time parent. I just want to use Python to help me trade. Yes. Okay. So that's good. Yeah, I'm trying to test the market out right now from an affordability point of view. My quant leads, well, you've probably seen the price. It's not cheap. That's really meant for trading firms. Doesn't mean that I'll necessarily only accept that. I'll be doing more sales on that, but I'll just leave it at that. But in terms of the Python coding, I've got the one course to lay down the foundation if that's what you wanted to do. I'd probably go down that path. I don't know what your end goal is. If you're just trying to do it for income, there's Python stuff in there. If you're part of the trial, get in touch with me and I'll point you specifically where to go from an affordability point of view. So Python's a good place to start. And then trying to play with the AI to generate something for you. Obviously, I can't do it on the stream, but yeah, just get in touch with me. I'll be glad to answer your specific questions. Or in fact, get on. You're probably familiar with my Zoom booking. We'll do a Zoom session one on one if you want to do that. I'll be happy to help you out if you got specific questions for that, for sure. Because there's lots of people like you, and I'm honored to help people out like that because you've taken that first step. That's a big accomplishment in itself. So Fungi Blast, you ever try this decentralized exchanges like Jupiter on SOL or trading via API? Yes, I used to be a big time trader on Binance when it wasn't regulated at all. It did amazing, millions, virtual profit from Ethereum and Bitcoin when it moved. It did amazing. Those days are done, unfortunately. That's all I can say. Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and the crypto space is heavily regulated. And every time I run instruments just from the futures and options market, rarely do I see Bitcoin come up. And if it does, it's a high risk trading strategy. So I focus on the low risk ones that give me a great profit, like in gold or currency or silver. So that's where I focus on now because the AI tells me that. So hopefully I'll help you out. So cryptorific, my goal is to manage investment for my whole family. That's cool. Yeah, I'm sure you know, as I said earlier, a good broker for that's Interactive Brokers, family and friends account. You can definitely do that. You can definitely do Python with that as well. I've got some things I can point you in my membership for that because I've done a lot of Interactive Broker stuff. So maybe that might be a good path for you. I'm not sure. But let me know. And if you want, get on the website. While you're on the website, just get in touch with me. We can set up the Zoom to help you out. So it's hacking. No, it's hacking. Okay. Thanks for coming aboard. Thanks for the question. I trade manually. How you automate it? Ooh, that's a very general. The first thing is watch the videos. I don't know what you're trading. I don't know your time frame. I don't know your initial goals. As I said earlier, if you're starting from zero, I'd go with either crypto. TradingView is a great platform to start on. I don't know if you have coding skills. Yeah, TradingView is a good place to start for sure. I have a TradingView account. I was very active on TradingView a few years ago. I just got kind of tired of it. It was really restrictive. You can move in other platforms, but from an affordability point of view, I would, yeah, go with TradingView if you're starting out. Again, I don't know your experience, so hard for me to answer the question. But yeah, I do work with a lot of call them newbies. The key here is to start simple. Don't go into this quant mindset, high frequency trading mindset, because it's going to throw you off and it's going to really discourage you because you'll just get overwhelmed. If I was to tell people if they're going to get in automation or automated trading or algo trading, to be honest, whatever platform you work with, I would always say just start to build a simple move an average cross strategy. That's still one of the best ones, believe it or not. If you can build that automated, plug in your broker and live trading with it, you're on a good starting point and build from there. And as I said, RSI's been lately a good indicator for me that the AI is spitting back at me. So there's that. Simple EMA crossover strats are pretty good for auto. Yeah, and they're very simple, primitive to start with. If you could build one of those, you're kind of golden. And just add in more technical analysis like RSI. What else is there? Bollinger, if you want, for mean reverting. And then you could build in some ATR logic on the exit, blah, 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 average true range stuff. So just start there. That's the best I can tell you, and just automate it and actually kind of start with a small account with live money. Because if you're doing it with backtesting in a virtual environment, you're kind of not going to feel the burn when you're losing money. But always start small. Always start small with, I don't know, $50, $100, and treat it like a little slot machine until you get it right. And then once you get the get into the motion of that like a moving average cross, then you're golden. There's nothing simpler, and that works really good as a moving average cross. Can you have this again for yeah? So Fungi Blast's simple EMA crossover strats are pretty good for auto. Yeah, they are for sure. As I said, it's got hacking. Can you have lost trade with algo? Absolutely. It's both good and bad. It's like no different than a casino, but with algo trading, it's more predictable. That makes sense. Fungi Blast, I'm using a prop firm eval account to try out these strats. I have problems with prop firms because what they'll do is if you ever get something that's doable, they're going to scam you one way or another. So there's been accusations of prop firms where all these so-called trading accounts are always in demo mode and there's really no live money in them. They're just stay away, man. I would just stick with a simple, if you're brand spanking new, stick with TradingView and just work with one of the account brokers supported through them, like Owanda for Forex or Binance for crypto if you can, or Coinbase or for crypto or interactive brokers. Keep it simple and just stay away from places like that. That's all I can say. Thanks for the likes. Crypto-rific. If you are already using indicators, plenty applications could trade your indicator. Yeah, you could. What we're talking about here is the level of sophistication, or if you're coming in from a newbie. If you're starting newbie, I would go with what I'm saying. As you build out with more experience and you building out more profitable indicators or more profitable strategies, then you start to scale up and get more advanced. Okay. The idea here is to focus on your workflow, your steps to go from point A to point B that's profitable and consistently profitable. What broker do you recommend for futures? To start with, for CME level, I would start with interactive brokers. It's simple, and with the micros, you could start 500 bucks and just focus on micro ES, micro indices. There's also micro oil, which is starting to trend now. Yeah, and just stay like I'm just focusing on micros right now, and you can do micro Ethereum, micro Bitcoin as well, and just stay small, and then build it out until you get profitable, if that makes sense. If you guys got questions or new, don't be shy to ask questions here. As you can tell, there's lots of newbie questions here, and that's cool. That's cool. That's why I'm doing this. Um, but as I said, if you missed the earlier part of the stream, just it'll be rendered and it'll be available on my live tab on my channel within usually an hour to 2 hours. So there's that. If you want to advance it, go to my website, quantlabsnet.com. Um, and the first place, if you want to make real good, if you're doing this for income and want to get serious, I would more than strongly advise you to focus on futures and options. And I say that because you're able to protect your downside. As I said, no other asset class does that. And you can do that through more advanced options. But depending upon your goal to get familiar with algo trading, as I said, just go with something like TradingView, move an average, start with a simple move an average cross. You can use AI to do that. AI is so amazing. You can build out Pine script strategies and indicators quite easily, or just use the open source ones that are available on TradingView. There's over 100,000 of them. And just as I say, reverse engineer it. If you don't understand, you can always download it or copy it and just feed it back into an AI, whatever it is, and just ask it to do something called a code breakdown. Give me a code breakdown on this piece of code or snippet or the entire thing, and it will go through advanced level by level on explaining the code and what it's doing. That's another way to learn how to do this reverse engineering process. I should have mentioned that earlier. But that's one of the more advanced ways and easier ways to really expedite your process and understanding this. Franklin, how can I find my video help tutorial with rhythmic test environment? Mm, okay, that's a tough one. Rhythmic, I don't do Rhythmic, Trader Pro, or anything to do that. The reason is because there's a billion of them out there on YouTube. When it comes to coding an API, my terms of service or their terms of service don't allow me to talk about it at all. So that's the problem with Rhythmic. If you're worried about that, then I would go with interactive brokers because there's no restriction there on what you can put out there publicly regarding their APIs and interactive brokers. So that's another option to look at. I'm just trying to gauge demand if people want the interactive brokers equivalent of what I generate for interactive brokers. I can easily provide that. I just need to see the demand. And actually, I had interactive brokers reach out to me if I wanted to work with them and say, "No, I'm a client already," and they moved on to the next person. So I don't know, kind of funny. Anyways, I took a Pine strat and had AI convert it to C# to run it in NinjaTrader. Dude, it's simple. To convert from one language to the next language, it's very, very easy. If let's say the platform's popular and there's enough big data set out there, for sure you can do it. Now, if you're gonna do it with something like Motorwave, you will be challenged by that because it's not a big enough user base for it. But again, with the big platforms, you definitely can do that. You will not find any results with Rhythmic at all, because of their terms of service. Now that may change as more people may, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. But that may change. But you'll still have difficulty being able to reverse engineer Rhythmic, and it's kind of, I don't know what to call it. Um, Anyways, yeah, but you can definitely convert one code base from one language to another. Yeah, you definitely can do that. And again, if you want the best one that does that is again Claude right now, Claude 4.5. And it's the Opus you want because that's the most advanced model out of the family of Claude. Like I said, Claude Sonnet 5 is coming out. I don't know when, but it's on its way. So zero times crypto shock. I currently use TradingView PineScript to test algos due to cost. Is it worth to switch to something with tick data such as Sierra charts? My automations are on the 50-minute and up TFS. Um, Sierra chart I like. I've played with it. It's the problem with it's C++. plus plus. Now, if you're kind of coming in from PineScript, I would rather have you focus on Python, something that runs with Python because it's a much easier language to work with. There's not a lot of platforms out there that support Python. You can find open source trading projects in Python, so you could use that an example. Because if you use something like as Fungi Blast mentioned about NinjaTrader and C Sharp, you could do that. C Sharp is a good language as a next step as well. But again, yeah, Python I think would be your best bet than going into Sierra chart because that's C++ plus plus and that's pretty sophisticated stuff. And I think if it gets too advanced for you, you may find that as a discouragement, and that's the last thing you want. I don't know your aptitude, let's say. I'm not saying that you're not capable, but majority of people I find are struggling once they go from a simple language to something like C++. What about Quant Connect? I've tried it out, but really don't know how slow the platform is. I wouldn't concern yourself about how fast or slow it is. Quant Connect's good. Jared's a good guy who founded it. That's a good step to go with as well. I don't not fully up to date on the data cost or how where it's at now. Quant Connect could be a good choice as well. Um, yeah. So zero time crypto, I'm experienced with C++, but I agree that C++ will be overcomplicating these strats too much. Yeah, I found that about a month ago, and I spent yeah, a good couple of weeks on that. It's overkill. So if you're gonna do a platform, yeah, Quant Connect could be a good next step. Um, but again, to kind of get around that, you may end up having to pay for market data, and it's market data with AI that gives you really good results. Fungi Blast, can you give me an example of where you use Python? I only heard about for webhooks. How do you run algos written in Python? Just through the command line? No. You could do it through a popular IDE like VS Code or VS Studio or Visual Studio or standard any JetBrains, PyCharm. You can run Python through those IDEs. You can also do the same thing with Cursor or whatnot. That's not a problem. How I use it, I've been using it out of all the languages in the last 10 years. I've used Python the most. The one thing I like about Python is very versatile. If you get good at prompting, you'd be like hugely surprised on how advanced it is. I use a web framework called Streamlit for the front end, and then I add in that prompt with Streamlit, the backtest. When I have the data, you can ask the AI to simulate the data, which is good enough if you budget's a big concern. So you can get AI, specifically Claude, to simulate data for best results of output. You can also, with the back test, the automated back test I mentioned, and the walk forward, you can do all of that in Streamlit, and at the same time ask for always in the prompt, always ask for the exact phrase I'm about to give you. Popular portfolio metrics. Once you get that, you understand how these popular portfolio metrics work. You're able to, outside of that, reverse engineer the risk. And that's what portfolio managers will look at as well to see if it's worthwhile to pursue that strategy. And then you get familiar with things like Sharpe ratio, Sortino, win ratio, annual return, and da 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 as you get familiar with that terminology. Favorite news source to feed AI? That's a good question. Reddit's good, but there's a lot of BS on Reddit. Now, for futures and options, one of the data sources I use is either the old forums like Big Mike is a good data source. The other Elite Trader as well for futures and options. You can use that as an open source data feed. Just get their data feed and feed that in as part of AI. That's a good one. Also, let me think here. There's some specialty ones, but I think, let me think. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to think of anything else because the majors, if you're doing futures and options, Reddit's good. If you got a good subreddit that focuses on crypto, futures, quant even, use that subreddit as a data source, and you can get the data feed and use that. Big Mike and Elite Trader are very good for the data feed news feeds and feed that into an AI. That would be a good suggestion I can give you specifically. But you always remember there's a lot of BS that comes through these feeds, and it really depends upon who moderates it. But I know the former Big Mike, which I can't remember what it's called now. It's been like that for years. And the other one's Elite Trader. They're very good at monitoring, so the feeds will be good quality to work from for trading ideas as well. And you can just feed that into an AI as uh, part of your part of your quality on stuff. Yeah, I'd go with that because I was quite surprised with those two group forums. That's if you're doing futures and options. If you're doing forex, obviously there's good ones for retail forex. Like I think it's Baby Pips is pretty good, reliable. It just depends upon who moderates it. If it's just a bunch of selling and BS stuff, that data feed, that news feed's not going to be very good for you, obviously. Who's got questions or comments as well? As I said, you'll find at the bottom in the shopping, if you're interested, I do have a sample code. Just trying to see if people are actually interested in this sort of stuff through my Shopify store. The ultra low latency market making Bitcoin C++ coding example. Uh, that can work pretty good, but that's more about learning how high frequency trading is done in the Bitcoin market. It's a good resource. I might start posting there as well. I just don't know. Need to know what people want, and I'm getting a good gauge from this from you folks online, and having conversations with you folks. So I'm able to gauge what the need is and provide that, and the price points is the important one as well because we all got to eat like everybody else. But ultimately, we're all about trying to earn money through automated trading. And you ask anybody, they're far and few between. And to do it profitably and especially to generate alpha, meaning beating the let's say the S&P 500 as the standard benchmark and being able to beat that, it's like 1 to 10% of all so-called traders can do that. So it's hard to find people who are actually doing that, let alone in the learning space with a verified track record as well. And that's why people that have that will charge big money for that. Because a lot of the so-called gurus, I call them frat boys, really, the gurus are just useless. I found there's a web, like there's a whole network marketplace of just scam. It's horrible. Like what you find on TikTok or Instagram, all these so-called crypto bros. I just can't remember the website. It was a marketplace for quite literally all these scams. It's just crazy. So I'm just as a be aware. I mean, I could probably be accused of being a scammer as well. If I was, I wouldn't be doing this every week, answering people's questions. I just do it because I like doing it, and I want people to succeed, especially with what we're going through from an economic standpoint. I do think there's two ways out. If AI is going to kill your career, there's two ways out. There's either you go entrepreneurial or online trading, right? But if everyone's going into trades like plumbing and going into being an electrician and the like, everybody's going to be doing it, and eventually those pay scales will come down. That's what happened here in Ontario, Canada, where they used to charge 50, $100 years ago. In that recession, everyone became a plumber and whatnot, and their pay scales came down, and there's so much competition for those jobs. So it's just basically it comes down to a race to the bottom, unfortunately. And then with the entrepreneurial stuff, if you have products and services that people want, then do it, because that's a good way out. And what are the other options out of that? Trading, I guess. And you got to be good at it to really survive. But it's a lot of mental anguish that comes out of it. So here I am to try to help people through it as best as I can. The only thing that will stop you, and the best quote I got from someone, the only competition in trading is the markets themselves. That's it. And yourself is the competition, because if you're willing to put the work in, the real work, and it could take quite a while to see results. But once you get that, you can retire off this and you can take this into retirement, no questions asked, especially with AI now. So Fungi Blast, I work at school in their data analytics department. Don't know if my job will exist in 5 years. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'd be saying 5 months. If you've not seen where AI agents are right now, they can do a lot of things that are pretty scary, and they could do pretty well anything. If you want to test it, always go to manus.ai, the new takeover candidate of Meta, their AI, and just put in a question, and it'll generate the freaking thing for you. It's scary. Yes, that's smart to look at Fungi Blast. That's why you're looking into this stuff. Yeah, get it all the time, but the problem is people kind of either give up or go down the wrong path if they pursue it and lose money or blah blah blah. Everything comes down to yourself if you're implementing. But when your career and your income stream is on the line, you may be forced to do it. Unfortunately, crypto was easy. It's heavily regulated now, and you could still make kind of money, but this so-called crypto winter, how do you make money at it? Everybody's wanting based upon momentum base, and it's like real estate. It's always went up, 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 and same with Bitcoin. And the market went up as well. And here we are, where in the last couple of months, everything's gone flat or declined. So what do you do now, right? That's the problem. Because we've had it, as I said, that we've had easy money for what, 15, 20 years, and that has now come to a sudden halt. And people may go into panic mode now or are in panic mode, and you got to figure out where to go. Especially if you have a family, that's the problem. And UBI will not be, universal basic income will not be something you want to be on, because then we know who controls you. Fungi Blast, I got a strategy that works slow and steady, but it works. Gradually scale it up from one micro contract to two to three. Only at one contract right now, but it works. That's good. All you need is one instrument. That's all you really need. Um, and if it's consistently profitable, good. Keep it that way. Um, but everything comes to an end, unfortunately. That's the problem. Even the stream will come to an end at some point. But yeah, I would just focus on the one. And the one you want to focus on is giving you the most profit. As I said earlier, I've got one I'm pretty happy with the looks of it on the walk forward for gold. It could be consistent. That could be a trading strategy that could carry me for a while. If gold still continues to perform the way it does in the futures and options market, and along with maybe copper. And there's always something that's always performing. That's why I like options and futures. There's always something that's profitable. And if not, and it gets really bad, well, as I said, look into VIX. VIX is going to be unbelievably make people a lot of money. And where else can you trade it? You don't want to be in an ETF, that's for sure. If you can trade it directly in the futures market, specifically in the options market, man, oh man, that's going to be your profit center right now when things get really, really, really bad. Because you can trade it as a future contract. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You guys got further questions or comments? We're coming up to 2 hours. As I said, we've come up to 3 hours, or we've done 3 hours in the past, no problem. But as I said, if you're new to all of this, I'd probably get in on the quantlabsnet.com. I don't think they have micros for VIX. No, they don't. Yeah, account size might be a limitation there. But I do think, if anything that I've seen in the last few months that will perform, it's that. Micro, I don't think it exists. Maybe a mini. I'd have to look in that. But I will say VIX, yeah, looking good. Maybe there's a proxy you could trade through that. I'd have to check. You could probably check through the AI, but as an instrument, I'd probably look at that when things get really squirrely out there in the markets, the way they are. And as I said earlier, with this drop in the crypto, or sorry, the gold and silver on Friday, that was manipulated by either China, the Fed, a combination with the Fed and the banks. I really don't know, but it was definitely manipulated. And that can happen at any point in time where you have this unpredictable exogenous event. And they'll just say, oh, it's something else because first they said it was when the new Fed chair came in. That was announced, and boom, the gold and silver went down because of that. I don't believe that one bit. No. And if things get bad, currencies will still be traded. That's 4 trillion a day. Metals, look at what's been happening with metals. When the stock markets get going again, that'll be great. And then you have agriculture on top of that. And for a while, coffee was doing well, cocoa was doing well, corn was doing well. And that's just on the CME. When you go into Rhythmic, you can go into other markets as well. You can go into the ICE for Euro. You can do Asia. It's really good because you can trade through Brazil, Mexico exchanges as well through Rhythmic. That's why I haven't explored that yet because there's so much in the CME itself. So that's why I like it. You guys got any further comments or questions? Fungi Blast, get in touch with me, man. quantlabsnet.com. You're the number one guy so far. Yeah, so if you guys got comments or questions, please type away. I'm reconnected. I'm live again. Yay. The good thing about YouTube app is I don't get lost on the stream. It's very good at reconnecting me. If you guys got questions or comments. So currently what I'm working on is these Python clients, and they're the way I prompt, they're very good. And I've dropped a lot of hints tonight in part of my prompting that works really good. Fungi Blast, I'm doing MNQ right now, pretty decent return, Sharp ratio at 1.3, very good in this environment. back tested over a year. That's good. If you can get a better combined strategy with the futures options and get it up to 1.8, you're, well, at least 1.5, you're golden. If you get up to 1.8, that would be better. Yeah, yeah, just more consistently at the 1.8's kind of the metric. Used to be 2, but as things get more unpredictable and uh, more unpredictable, more highly volatile, and the new thing they're talking about is the lack of liquidity now. That's a big, big concern as well. So volume is going to be very important what you trade. Um, yeah, I did say options, dude. CME options with the NQ, NASDAQ MNQ. But if you're starting small, based upon what you're saying, options won't help you at all because you got to have a fairly decent size account. But futures alone can help you. There's different ways to trade in the futures market on the MNQ or any of the micro markets. So yeah, you can definitely do that. If you're just joining, you got questions, let me know. If you've been lingering, got questions, let me know. You'll notice I'm not using my usual headbuds because I don't need them in. I forgot. I'm just dealing with people typing. I just said I might do the Zoom now. That will not be live on obviously on YouTube. I can actually no, that's a lie. The way I have it set up, I can do live streams with YouTube and Facebook, X, and I think TikTok as well. But most of the people will come through YouTube most likely. So we'll see if I can deliver that in the next week or so. I'm going to test it out. Might do a random stream, see what happens. You guys got questions or comments? Let me know. Thank you for the likes. Yeah, appreciate it. You guys got questions or comments? So, as I said with Python, if you're just joining, why I like Python is because it's not about rapid execution of speed, it's the rapid development. And Python's the best one for that because that's what the language was designed for, to be able to rapidly develop trading strategies with. And Python's the best. And we'll see how it goes in the next few days with this news thing and testing out Python trading scripts and rejecting the ones that don't look too good. And I'm talking about low risk but high reward. And I'm seeing a few, and those are the ones you want to trade. Obviously, if you've got questions or comments, let me know. If not, coming up to 2 hours. I don't mind tearing it down because I can get back to my work. Takes me up to 9 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Time. You guys got questions, comments? We've had somebody, I think it was from Ireland, was on it. I think it was JDI that was on it. May have dropped off for all I know. I don't know. But yeah, we addressed a lot of new folks, beginners, I guess. Cryptorific. Seems like your AI takes news data and then applies the strategy to the news. It takes the news and basically what it does, it takes the news and you can decipher what is in the news, summarize from a data feed or a news feed, plug it into a AI like Claude 4.5, and you can ask it to actually generate code for you from that in Python. That's a lot of people don't know that you can take now images and be able to summarize what's in the image. And you could actually take and ask it to generate code from it. It's that advanced. Fungi Blast, where can we get info on the Python strategy you're testing? You get it through my website. If you sign up, I've got different types of memberships available. Quantlabsnet.com and go into my subscribe to it. You can get on my main homepage. You can subscribe through that, or at the top you'll find a Learn tab. You'll get a little C++ HFT ebook, and also do trials as well on my what I call the quant analytics. So you can build out from there. And I have the futures and options course as well. So that's the best place to go if that's what you're interested in, Fungi Blast. That's kind of the best place to go because yeah, because I go more advanced. I pump out a lot of content, but a lot of it ends up privately, and I'm kind of like not promoting it anymore. I do post it because that people get overwhelmed, and I don't mean to do that. As to be honest, I want people to get across the finish line, however it's done. No problem, Fungi Blast and the cool. Uh, as I said, let me check the ranking. Actually, Fungi Blast, get on my website, quantlabsnet.com, and open up a connection with me on the chat and just let me know who you are. I'll have something for you. You're number one contributor for tonight. Yeah, because like that's what I'm going to start doing is just looking for people that want to contribute and have little prizes for them. So yeah, quantlabsnet.com. Just so you know, if you're on, you see the little link for the shopping product, hftcode.com. I had to take up the contact form because I was just getting killed on spam. I had to remove it. So you're going to be able to get better on quantlabsnet.com. No problem, Fungi Blast. Anybody else got questions or comments? It's kind of cool because when I do the stream, I'll have up to 200 views. Obviously, I want to grow it. Yeah. And I'm looked upon as being a specialist in live streams now. That was all through courtesy of something else I learned from the provider of this website, if you follow me. If you got comments, questions, let me know. If not, I'll give a teardown at 2 hours. Oh, we got it's hacking. Do you trade based on candlesticks? No, I base on currently news and what the AI tells me in the news event and have it build out options and futures strategies from that. That's the way it's looking now. Any favorite GitHub projects? I don't really follow a lot of GitHub projects, cryptorific. I just focus on my own stuff. I find now where we're with AI can do a lot for you, meaning do you need to read a book now? Do you need to take a course? It just depends. People want the structure. If you don't know how to use AI, it'll be difficult, but we may get to a point where the AI can do a lot for us. How do you trade based on news? Just watch my most recent long form videos. I have a lot of detail on that. So generally, I have different data sources, and it's pretty good at being able to generate futures and options strategies for it. I'm just trying to still build out a consistent workflow from it. But so far, what I'm seeing, it's the best one. Originally, a month ago, you asked me, I would have thought, oh, quant mindset, HFT mindset was the best. Not when you have a small account. It's not very good. So it's hacking very fast and unpredictable. Are you talking about the markets? It's like hacking. If so, yeah, I've been saying that for the last month or so that the markets are highly unpredictable, highly volatile, and as I said, liquidity. The results I'm getting in the AI now is a lack of liquidity, and there lies the problem because that's what started the 2008 great financial crisis was the liquidity when it dried up. That's why the Fed had to pump in so much, literally trillions of dollars to keep the system alive. But the question is, will the Fed continue to do that? And if they do, well, then they just go into a faster doom loop, and we all kind of go down with that. Well, you don't have to. There's ways to circumvent that, I believe, with futures and options trading to be able to protect yourself. As I've said before. So just waiting for other questions or comments from anybody on here. If it slows down, then I'll give it a tear down. Just so everybody knows, I'm on Tuesday nights, Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. right now. That's the way it looks. Where can I find your videos you like? You look like someone who knows what he's doing. Thank you. Follow me on the YouTube channel itself. There's long form videos. There's obviously shorts that I put out, the snippets, the 2 minute, 3 minute clips. That's the easiest way. But if you want to know more of the private stuff that I put, go to the website, quantlabsnet.com. And better yet, get on the email list as well. I do have different groups on my website. Um, I have one with over 500 members that I'm not really exploiting. I should be. I just so you know, I have a LinkedIn group with I think 11,000 people. It's kind of not, I don't know, with the doom scrolling, it kills that. And the same with Facebook as well. I got 15,000 plus people on that. As like the only one that kind of drives anything, it's YouTube. That's it. Everything else is just kind of like dead in the water to me, unfortunately. But I might start up the public group that I have on my website. I've got like some 500 people. I think I'm pushing 900 members now, which is pretty incredible. I've only had that new web domain for a year and a half, and it's already at 900 free members. It's crazy. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. You think so? Um, I don't know. I have opinions on it, but you'd be surprised on it. But I agree. I don't see as much on it. The only one on the social media front I find is YouTube. That's it. Cryptorific. I want to trade as well as a hedge fund. Can AI really help democratize this industry? If it's possible, I want to go all in. It's possible, but you have to factor in everybody else is going to want to do the same thing. Their dog, their uncle. And as I said before, it's going to become too crowded. The only way to be the cut above is to present something that's kind of above standards. I'm finding a lot of the big hedge funds and the investors, the allocators, they're probably getting pounded left and right on on uh, on it. Yes, AI can help you, but again, everybody else can use the AI for the same thing. The only way to get above that as a hedge fund or a family office is to be able to have a verified trading account. Without that, you're you're kind of done. Like, and then everyone's going to have it. As people become more laid off from the hedge fund industry, and other institutions, they're going to try to run their own operation. So that's going to be your next level of competition as well. And that's thousands of people. The same thing happened in the great financial crisis. And that's your competition. So if you're starting from zero or near zero, you got to factor that in. So that's why I always tell people to always kind of come in with more of an entrepreneurial mindset and just worry about you. Generate your own income, generate your own portfolio, and try to live off it, retire off it, because these are important skills to have, and not you don't need to impress people. But yes, AI can definitely help you. It's wow, sound very impressive. I trade manually from now. I want to automate my trades. Can you give me any tips for a beginner who don't know how to program? I've heard about quant and algo. What's the difference? Um, that's going to be the most popular question. Obviously, the best thing I can suggest is just go onto my YouTube channel and just type in any of that, or just generally use AI to kind of go into that from a zero knowledge. I'm finding Perplexity is very good at that. ChatGPT can be good as well, but just generally, TradingView is a great platform to learn off of, to auto trade with. The difference between quant, algo, really, algos is what makes quant. I mean, you're developing algos which become rule-based strategies based on math, and that's kind of like the quantitative trading aspect of how to trade. Because obviously there's technical, fundamental, and now quantitative. So quantitative is more the math, which means the algo. So that's kind of one of the same. If that makes sense. But the math, I don't know. Especially if you do get a secretive proprietary trading algo that works, good for you. Keep it a secret. Question is, how long will it last with the crazy volatility that is in place now? That's what makes the trading harder, on top of the liquidity, the volatility, the volume of what you trade. So you have to factor all that in. It's highly unpredictable. So I don't think there will be a magic bullet with one algo for everything. You may get an algo that lasts a couple of days, weeks, and then you just shelve that algo and have something else. I've been told by really high net worth algo traders, we'll call them, yeah, they have maybe anywhere from 10 to 50 different strategies on the go that sit on a shelf somewhere, and they apply this strategy, that strategy for this market condition. But that was 10 plus years ago. But now with AI, if you get good at the prompting, you can generate strategies on the fly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not quite close to it, but with Python, it's possible. But with AI agents now, and how quickly they're advancing, I think we're getting very close to say, yes, that is definitely possible. But as I said, you got to know a lot about the trading, let's say software architecting. That's going to be really important. Uh, Not sure the best way to contact you. I had the chat open, but I tried to log in and it removed the chat I sent. I got my email in there though. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to find out how I can identify you as the person. Hopefully, your identity is related around your emails are related around your YouTube identity. Let me think here. That chat should open. Like you should. It'll ask for your email, your message, and asking you for what you want to send to me. So that's probably the best. But if you have an identity tied to it, that's great. And then you have my it will send back my email to you. Um, there was another way to do it, but it just got spammed like crazy about a couple of months ago. So I'm trying to figure out how to get around that because of the spamming, the bots. Yeah. If not, if you don't hear from me, just add a comment here on the stream, and I'll look for it. Yeah, so I'll look for it, and if you don't hear from me on it, just put a comment in the stream, and I'll definitely follow up to you because we all forget things. My brain has more brain farts than anything else. So I'm getting old, folks. Anything else? Any questions, comments? Lots of good questions. I love doing this now. Every day on my week, I look forward to doing these streams. These are awesome. New people come in and all kinds of things. The contacts I made through WhatsApp alone look unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, online, once you start to, what's the word? Build exposure, it's pretty eye-opening who's out there listening to you and watching you. So if you guys got comments or questions, let me know. So we're 2.5 hours. Do I do mentoring? I tried that. I've got booking sessions I do. Try one. Try booking sessions. Very cheap. I've got other guys online. They're charging $350 for half an hour. I'm not even a tenth of that for 15 minutes. So I'm cheap. But go to a website, quantlabsnet.com, and look for the booking. Try it out. I was saying earlier, I might shut that down because no one uses it. But I do Zoom sessions with people. But the problem is, yeah, I don't like. Well, yeah. So the booking, you just try it out, see where it goes. Good to know. It's saying King with Cryptorific. How do I get into the WhatsApp? I don't have my own WhatsApp. I'm talking about. I'm part of other WhatsApp groups, and they're private. And I join them through past contacts, and more they're getting watered down. But there's some interesting people on there that post things. So my hope is to get a private community on my website. I've tried Discord, spam. I've tried Telegram, spam. I've tried them all of the groups, even WhatsApp spam. People just post all this self promotion stuff, and it's like it's a complete waste of time to moderate it. So usually when people pay for something, a couple things happen. When they pay and they join one of my groups, which and people engage there, that's that paywall is right there. It keeps the spammers and the self promoters out, and the quality goes up immensely. Just got to find just more and more people got to join. Do I use machine learning? Well, I'm using machine learning as a result of machine learning via AI. I mean, that is the underhood of that is machine learning. So, but if you're asking if I use like Torch and TensorFlow machine learning libraries, I have no need anymore. I was planning one day to go into it, but AI is so good, makes you kind of lazy, and there's really no need to go down that path to learn. I mean, if you wanted to learn self-learn, that's great, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I just want to have a balanced life instead of doing this 24/7. There was a time and place to do that. But yeah, AI is the result of machine learning. So I'm kind of in a way saying, yeah, I use AI in a way, if that makes sense. If you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Appreciate you guys being here and anyone else watching. Value everything. I do like the comments. We did have problems with the the trolls. It was really bad, and last two three streams it's been very good. Not one has shown up, which is great. I don't know if it's YouTube doing something or uh, I don't know. I shouldn't be talking about that, but the trolling has been absolutely zero, which is great because it does really just destroy everything, and that's what they want to intend. But good on them if that's what they want. There's other places to go for that, obviously. Um, yeah. So I appreciate you being here. If you got questions or comments, let me know. Anybody? I know there's lots of general questions. Oh, that's fine. I don't know how many people we peaked at 11 people, but those are the people that usually do their doom scrolling and will hang out for 30 seconds and move on to the next stream and look for their shiny toy. Good luck to them. Yeah, I've done that before and stopped. It's a complete utter waste of time. You're not very productive there, but that's just me, right? What do I know? You guys got further questions, comments? As I said, just visit quantlabsnet.com to learn more. Even want to take it further, join the email list. Um, Trolls got bored. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, they try to. It was pretty nasty stuff, but I just laughed at them. I mean, just a bunch of idiots. Like, truthfully, like, mommy would be so proud of them, you know? Anyways, yeah, like I said, yeah, these last few streams have been really good. So you don't look at the chart, you let the trade run. Well, um, let me put it this way. I don't trade off of trading indicators. Okay. Why? Because that's what I'll call them not so smart money does. When they're not so smart money, they get killed and they don't know why. So you need to, it's like hunting. If you want to hunt for a duck in the sky, you don't shoot where it's at currently, you shoot where it's going. Trading's the exact same way. And you can use AI to project where you think AI is going. And as I said earlier, multiple times, that's the beauty of futures and options because you can protect your downside and get unlimited profit at the same time. So the trading, the indicators, technical analysis kind of it's like this. If you wanted to do manual trading only, fundamental trading is or fundamental analysis is very good to plan your trading, what you're going to trade and why, based around stock, whatever, and then use technical analysis to time your trades, time your positions. That's what technical analysis should be. But a lot of people will always say you can predict the future with technical analysis, that's kind of to me laughable because look at the Bitcoin bros. They're back to working at McDonald's, right? Because these cycles and all that, it's all, I hate to say nonsense. Just look up the theory of random walk. That usually says everything. But the best way is just to be, it's like a casino trying to figure out where things will go. Fortunately, you have two things. You have data now to plan, and the other thing you have is AI to help you code your automated strategies, if that makes sense. What kind of info was covered in your older TradingView training? I've been doing Pine Script indicators for about 10 years. Just generally about indicators, how to use TradingView. I was really excited when I joined because with the news and you could build up a following through that. Um, I found TradingView was, I mean, if anything I've used from a retail trading perspective, I think TradingView is easily number one, regardless. And they make it so easy to get automated trading up and running with supported brokers. Pretty lickety split. Um, where I ran into not problems, but when you do, I was more focusing on news and trying to build up a so-called following using the social media stuff. And occasionally I get a warning on something that was really dumb. I just got off it because of it. It was just like, eh. But I still kind of use it. I just renewed it. But I'm using less and less of it as I move into rhythmic and all that stuff I already mentioned. But all the courses, just general how to do stuff, how to use an indicator. If you look at my Trading View channel, it's kind of like more of that. But still, I think Trading View is great. Where I kind of lost it was it's a proprietary software language. That was it there. Scripter, I got upset when I realized you could not import data. They do pull in some Glassnode data, but it's not enough. Yeah, that's what I was saying with TradingView as well. The problem is it's really limited. Same with any platform. There's certain platforms that I really like MotoWave, but then they ask, what features do you want? And it really comes down to a popularity contest, what they think should be in their platform, and it's still restricted. So I waited like, I think 2 or 3 years for certain features on MotoWave, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to do the API thing, and I'm happy to be where I'm at now with it. And now with AI and how it's evolved, because yeah, I'm not saying it makes life easier, but it makes life easier if you're experienced, knowing how to use it and really know how to harness it to your benefit. Super Bowl will tell us how the market will act for the rest of the year. I heard somewhere if either the American League or National League market is up for the rest of the year. Sounds legit. I'm not sure. I don't really follow a lot of sports or around, let's say, like the NFL. I can't say anything about that, but I've seen indicators built around the moonlight and what it means and blah blah blah. But that sounds kind of out of the ordinary. But when people don't understand where candlesticks came from. Candlesticks came from rice traders out of Japan like centuries ago, and they hand built all these combination of the candlesticks based upon what the moon will do for their rice field growth. So that's where candlesticks come from, is from Japanese rice traders years ago. So I mean that sounds legitimate, right? Even though that sounds off the wall too. What sources for API data do I use? Sources of data, Rhythmic. Rhythmic does everything. It does all my market data. It also does all my order execution. That's it. That's all I use outside of now news feeds. And that's all I'm using. Because like that's the other thing is you got to know how to separate the noise from the signals. Because there's 99% noise. And just focus on the good quality regulated signals because there's a lot of BS out there. And more importantly, what you watch on the mainstream news, if you're watching CNBC or Bloomberg or whatever, even reading the FT, that's noise as well because that's just all subjective. And you don't know what to believe. And part of these WhatsApp groups say it's always data led, nothing else. Everything's all data led upon what happens in the market. I read it in some, let me see here. I missed something here. I read it in some actuarial learning material. Actuarial is very conservative. It's old school. Yeah, I've already answered. Have you given your AI agents access to MCP servers? I don't have any of that. I'm just generating AI coding straight up from AI, like just coding up training scripts, really, in Python or if it's C sharp or whatnot. I do intend to go that route for sure. I have thought about providing API links off a website for programmatic and maybe charging a fee for it. I've thought about that. So I'm not sure. I've looked at copy trading and blah 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 blah. When it comes to copy trading, I have to be careful. As an example, where I am, people may not know this, but I do believe, and I firmly believe that where I live in Ontario, Canada, it's probably one of the most strict financial regulators on the planet. And I say that because when Binance was going crazy worldwide, the first regulatory body that kicked Binance out of a jurisdiction was Ontario through the Ontario Securities Commission. They were the first. I couldn't quite understand it. Everybody else followed the reason on that. And they also have now, if I want to do copy trading, I have to be registered, blah, 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 blah. You just don't want to be registered with government bodies because they will tell you what you can and cannot do. As an example, with governments, if I decide to talk about X in trading, I can be held liable for it. And if I had a CFA as an example, I am highly restricted what I can talk about. So I've always chosen not to go after these designations. And I've also purposely chosen not to be affiliated with any government regulator for credibility or not. If you go on my LinkedIn profile, I'm not validated on it whatsoever. Why? Because the thing is with things like LinkedIn that has my government ID, I'm not giving my any more government ID anything to anybody because it gets hacked and then it gets abused. And then we know that identity theft is a real thing. That's why I think LinkedIn doesn't have as many real validated people. And if it's a problem, I won't use it. My identity and my privacy, my private data is way more important to me than so-called legitimate whatever. As an example, when I approached a recruiter out of the UK for you guys last week, the guy wouldn't respond to me because I'm not validated on LinkedIn, and he wouldn't respond to me. And I said, "That's fine. I don't really need you. I've got like I don't know, probably a couple of hundred other people to go to on my LinkedIn groups. So it's nothing special for legitimacy if you're registered or not. Especially now because things will get hacked or have identity theft committed upon your data. I don't need that, and I it's really hard to reverse that. And if it comes down to things like mortgage fraud and you're asking for a world of trouble when that happens to you. Therefore, that I just don't submit my personal data and privacy anymore. Just don't. They have enough on my information already. If that makes sense. But if maybe this might be turned into a short, I don't know. But there you go. That's why I don't do any of this more government identity stuff. And I'd rather not do it. YouTube's been good to me so far this year, on the last couple of months, so I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, enough ranting there. But people ask, you guys got questions or comments? We're coming down to low numbers again. Anybody? Yeah, so to come back to your previous question, cryptorific, yeah, that's why I'm not at that point yet with the AI agents and MCP servers. I do plan at some point to spend, I don't know, a weekend or something learning Andrew Ho, his latest one on exactly that, the agent stuff, the MCP, the skills. There's a new course that just came out in the last week, all free on those topics. So I plan to take it. I've got one guy raving about it, so I'll follow suit. You guys got any further questions or comments? 2.5 hours. It's very good tonight, as usual. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is what I do to end it. If you're kind of new, I do a going once, twice, three times. If I don't see any follow-up questions, if you're just getting this message now, because I know it's a delay in the synchronization. Thank you, Fungi Blast, for coming out. Yeah, this was great. If you got anyone else got any questions, let me know. Type away, please. So I'll do a going once. I go in twice. Uh, okay, great, great. Thank you for coming out. Going three times. We're done. I guess we're done for tonight. I appreciate you guys being out. If you want to know more, as I said, join my website. That's what it's for. I use this streams to obviously market that, but I get the more serious talk in the emails and the web. Hopefully, that web group I'm going to have, and really take advantage of the 500 plus people in there. I do want to copy trade to you. I wouldn't recommend it. I would always recommend do your own thing, man. That's all I can say. I don't encourage copy trading. You don't want to use people as a crutch, me or whoever else. You just don't want to do it. Again, if you want, get in touch with me. We could talk about something around that. But just getting better options for you. Okay. But I wouldn't recommend that. I guess any further questions? I'll repeat the going once, twice, three times. So if you got a question, comment, let me know. Going once. Going twice. Going three times. I guess I'll call it, we're done. It's like get on the website, quantlabsnet.com. If you want, try out the thing. So the login on the site is weird. I log in and then on the main page it stills say to log in again. When is the Bitcoin bottom? There's a shopping product at the bottom. Fungi Blast. Did you subscribe? There's certain portions of my website are the protected paid protected where you have to have a paid membership. A lot of people get caught up in that, but you're not the only one. I need to know exactly where you are. You know what? Fungi Blast? Okay, cool. If you want, with the problem that you're experiencing, because this will really help me out, put the link in a comment in this stream so I know exactly what it is and make a comment out of it so I know exactly, so I can either fix it myself or send it off to my hosting provider to fix it. If it's a bug, if it's a accessibility problem, I don't know until people let me know. Okay, so if you can help me there, that'd be great. Okay, so I guess we're done. I'll be back on next Tuesday. If you're on my email list, you may be on the lookout for a live stream. If I just do it on Zoom only, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thanks for coming out. And I'm going to end it now because it's 2.5 hours. I'll see you next week. Okay, if you come back, please, 7 p.m. Quincy Lewis, hey, will the things you are doing with AlgoTrain, can it work with NinjaTrader? No, unfortunately, no. I don't do NinjaTrader any at all. Just do Python, C# with Rhythmic API trading. Watch the video that will get streamed later tonight, and you'll be able to watch what I do and any of the other stuff as well. Or go to quantlabsnet.com as well. All right. Anyone else? I could be here all night if other people come in. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.